our presentation today looked at West Germany and whether they should have repressed their past or accepted it, and we kind of took two sides of the argument. I chose the side of the argument that the repression of the past kind of led to ignorance. They should have taken a closer look at the past to recognize their wrongdoings, and instead of not recognizing their wrongdoings, this established a sense of ignorance amongst West Germans. So I have a quote here that is from a New York Times article that's entitled, "West German Youth Found to be Ignorant About Hitler, period." So not doing so established a sense of ignorance amongst West Germans. So this quote comes from this study which was done amongst high school age students and they were just talking about what, the question was, who is Hitler and what did he do? And one student said, Hitler was the leader, I'm not quite sure of what, but I think of World War II. He was a small man and somewhat stout with a bushy mustache. He shot himself. People were truly attached to him, but they did not like that. People were not allowed to go into the streets at night. They were shot right away. Hitler was married. So you can see that there was, I said notice no mention of the Jewish Holocaust. So that was really, I think, kind of a astonishing quote that there was no mention of the Holocaust. There was no mention of the oppression. There was just kind of, he was a leader and he might have shot people and he was married. Was kind of, so there wasn't a lot of public, by the younger generation, public, I guess, like recognition that this occurred and that that we are now moving forward and taking steps to move forward into democracy.
What year was that?
So it was in the 1970s. So it was by, there's another slide about it, but it was in the 1970s. Dieter Bossman did a study with high school age children. And then, so there was no remorse also, so no recognition of the past led to little remorse, and this was a picture of West Germany post World War II. So West Germany needed to consider their past and moving forward with democratization. West Germans, due to their lack of education on the Jewish Holocaust, those who were born after it, felt little remorse towards the Jewish people. So this is a quote from just 5% of West Germans surveyed admitted feeling guilty towards Jews, and a further 29% acknowledged that Germany owes some restitution to the Jewish people. So you can see here that because of the lack of education and the lack of admittance to what happened during the Jewish Holocaust, there was no remorse, there was ignorance because the past wasn't recognized. Even though, as Cameron's going to mention, they did a great job moving forward with democratization. I know that Cameron's going to bring up some points about that. The recognition of the past could lead to right-wing movements. I think that although all Cameron's points are true and valid, I think that recognizing the past could have led to less ignorance, more remorse, and just a better recognition of the past. And we just have one last slide here, return to Nazism. In the same study, the study went two ways. That either people were really recognized Hitler as a military genius who almost conquered the whole world, and then also they either knew a lot about his military geniusness and recognized that, or they had no idea who he was, as we saw in the first quote. So Bosman expressed concern that if the past is not recognized, that it could occur again, and I agree with this point, and I'm going to raise that too as part of the presentation. And then, yeah.